All right, folks, welcome back. Going big time, official lesson, okay, or presentation. I don't know, I have to do a poll to see what title works best, you know. So let me know in the comments after you like and subscribe to the video before you've even seen it, okay? But, you know, sometimes people watch and never subscribe. I do that all the time. But then I'm like, you know what? I should subscribe, be a good guy. So, you know, do that if that feels right to you, because it'll help you, it'll help me. That'll get us to where we need to be. So, let's get into this next thing. As I said, this is going big time. I'm Mike P. Steve is at the camera. He's behind it. He's got two of them going again. He's like, wow, man. Wow. He really puts in the work. You do a great job, Steve.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is triplets. Not in a jazz way. I feel like jazz is kind of a turnoff for people for some reason. Shouldn't let it be a turnoff, okay? There's a lot of value into it. Maybe I'll talk about that later. But anyway, this is like funky applications of the triplet, okay? I'm a big fan of mixing subdivisions. What does that mean? Well, hopefully you know already. I don't know, but say we're in like 16th notes, right? We're playing like a 16th note groove, and then we're going into a triplet little fill or hi-hat flourish, right? That's what I love. I love doing that on here. So what do I mean by that? Let's talk about it. So say we're playing a groove, right? There's an intro. Check the intro out again, right? Some of that stuff. But basically what we're doing is, so say we're just playing like regular old drum groove, right? Some Back in Black inspired right here, okay? Okay, that's cool, that's fine, but what if we want to spice things up? Add some little boops to the hi-hat, okay? 3, 4. A little cooler, okay? Not saying playing minimal isn't cool. That can be cool. But sometimes you want to add some stuff, right? Maybe like accent something the guitar player's doing or the keyboard player, whatever, whoever you're jamming with. That is an option to do a subtle like nod to what they're playing, right? Depending on the song. So, or, you know, it's just to decorate a bit, you know? If there's room for it in the music, you can do that kind of stuff. But I'm a big fan of that, as well as, you know, some like 30-second note, like double stuff as well. But what we're focusing on today is the triplet, okay? And getting that mixed in. So let's talk about it. So we're gonna start with this exercise that I probably got this from somebody, some teacher along the way, but I have forgotten it. I'm sorry if whoever I'm not mentioning. But what I like to do to work on this is think in 8th note triplets. So I'm still doing backbeat on 2 and 4, but the whole time, right, left, okay? Right, left. So that means for 2 and 4, I'm gonna come down to the snare drum with my right hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this might be weird at first, right? Because it's not a sticking we're used to doing, but you know, just think you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all it is, right? And that's it. So, where do we go from there? Well, that's the easy thing, right? We're just doing that. That's no biggie. What we want to get going, it's getting a little fancy with the bass drum. So this may be you know, a little familiar if you've been following me. But this is very bass drum fluency E from lesson 1, I believe. It was a long time ago. Hopefully you've been working on it. But you want that every number, okay? While maintaining this sticking. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. That's easy, Mike. I know. Steve, you've said it enough. I get it. But now, we're going to move that baby around. What about the third triplet? Huh, I can do that. That's no problem. And the thing, too, with that is make sure that bass drum lines right up with that note it's supposed to be landing on in the left hand, right? Because that's one ta-ta. So that last triplet, bass drum, left hand, got to be synced up right there, okay? Now, we got to get the tough one, the middle triplet, right? This one's a little wacky feeling at first, so go slow, right? That one can suck at first, so go slow, okay? That's a tough one. But once you get all 3 of those really, really confident and just like locked in, you want to move through them. So let's do like 2 bars of each one of those, okay? So we're going to start on the number, then the middle triplet, then the last triplet. Let's go like pyramid style, back to the middle triplet, back to the downbeat, okay? Let's see if I mess this up. We're going to see. I don't know, or I'll edit it so that you don't see me mess up. I think we'll probably go that route. Here we go. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there it is, okay? Nailed it. So then you want to work up the tempos with that as well. But hey, why are we doing this? Well, okay, we want to also do combinations with this, right? So on top of like, yeah, getting comfortable with all those and tempo increase, we want to be able to kind of do other combinations of those because those are all the singles. So maybe let's try doing like just a quarter note triplet over that, okay? So we'll start with the one on the downbeat, right? This is gonna sound wonky, so you gotta keep track of that, 2 and 4, keep track of all the beats, but that's the idea. So if we're gonna do that, I'm gonna get into it, but here we go. I messed up the sticking, here we go. So what am I doing there? I'm doing the downbeat, the third triplet, the middle triplet. And that's gonna be, so the beat 1, the third triplet of 1, and then the second triplet of beat 2, and then the same thing for 3 and 4. So. Right? That's kind of a cool thing that we can mess with. Next up, doing the same thing, but bumping things forward. So now we're starting in the middle triplet of 1, landing on 2 with the bass drum, and then the third triplet of 2 with the bass drum as well. And then again, same thing for 3 and 4. So here we go. Right? Got a little uncomfortable there for a second, but that's what it is, right? Got to do that. Now we can do those kind of back to back. Let's try that. So. Okay, messed up at the end there, but maybe I'll cut that. But that's the idea, right? Cool. So that's both of those, right? We can also get into some other funky stuff, like doing consecutive notes, which is also really good. And this is actually really good for your right foot as well, because it can be tough to do, to line those things up. So like, right? Because that's getting into that whole thing where it's the triplets in the right foot, right? Like all that other stuff that we can do in other parts of the drum set, right? This is one of those things where everything we practice on drums, it just ripples out into all parts of our playing, right? So this is gonna really help us internalize the triplet, be able to play it comfortably in other contexts, right? As long as we practice it really thoroughly. But yeah, this little doohickey is very important to get, which is that the middle triplet and the last triplet, right? Right? That thing. That's the idea, all right? Have at it. Do it. Now, the other side of this, right? We can also do this in 16th note triplets. This is very, very similar. We're just moving the snare drum over. You can think of it as like a halftime, but whatever, however you want to think about it. But we're thinking like 16th note triplets is what I'm thinking about it. So that means we have 6 notes per beat, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So we can do all the same stuff, right? But now, instead of like the quarter note for this, it's gonna be the 8th note, because we're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, right? So we have more space again. So same thing now, let's do the 3rd triplet. So meaning, you know, 1 to ta and then and to ta, right? Which is kind of like if you're thinking like swung 16ths, it's like the E and the right? I hope I'm not misspeaking here, but here's the deal. So that was the downbeats, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and now right? Cool. So that one's also cool, right? Middle triplet is tough again. This is, yeah, the 2nd 16th note triplet and then the 5th one, right? This one can be tough. You really gotta, I would recommend doing this with a metronome because you don't wanna lose your 1. It's embarrassing. It's gonna be humiliating if you do that on a gig or even jamming. They're gonna be like, what are you doing, dude? Don't do that. That sucked. Keep your place, right? So we don't want to embarrass ourselves. So let's do that. Let's work on this slowly. Pay attention to that 2 and 4, right? Maybe even count out loud. I'm not going to do that because it's a pain in the ass to do the mixing after this, but I do it sometimes though, just for you, because I care. So here we go. So. Right, so that is good to have, yeah, it's always good to have a reference, right? You start with the downbeats, go into those middle triplets. Let's go through all of them and see if I mess up. We'll see, I don't know. I warmed up, but you just never know. It's a wild card, this whole thing. So here we go. So all the downbeats, middle triplets, last triplets. use a metronome. Okay, so that's all of those. Then we get into what we did before, right? The like quarter note triplet type thing. Now this time it would be not that, right? So because we're in 16th notes, so let's check this out. So starting with the downbeat, right? So the 1 ta ta and ta ta 2 ta ta and ta ta, right? Bizarre, I know. There it is. Then do the one where it starts on the middle triplet. That one's harder. I don't know why, I'm just not coming back around. Here we go. And there it is, right? Same thing, you can do the doubles, right? So it's like the... So you can get into that stuff as well, however you want to do it, okay? But just work on this stuff slow and then start experimenting. That's what it's all about, right? Got to experiment with it. That's, you know, if you want to go big time. Last thing we want to talk about is the dreaded thing, jazz, okay? I don't know what jazz means to most people because, you know, we got Sabrina Carpenter just being like blowing up the charts, you know, and I get jazz is never going to be that again. So I'm just wondering, actually, I want to have a little discussion about what jazz means to people, right? Because my journey was like, I didn't even know what jazz was. Like, I was in high school, I was playing drums in bands and stuff, and I would be around other drummers and other bands that, you know, because we were playing in shows and stuff, and I remember other drummers saying, like, my playing was jazzy, and I was like, that is bizarre, because I don't even know what jazz is. I don't know how to play it. I don't know what it is. I mean, I knew the, like, the stereotypes of it, you know. It's like there's horns and there's an upright bass and there's drums and there's piano and whatever. So that's it, right? That's like what I knew. So being told that I sound jazzy was very strange because they didn't know what jazz was either, right? And it was strange. It was weird. It's a weird thing because to a lot of us, to like people who have never heard of jazz, it's that's what it is. It's like a cartoon. It's a caricature of itself. Like nobody really knows what it is because they haven't been exposed to it, right? And I'm no jazzer. Like there was a time I really wanted to be a jazz dude, you know, like a jazz cat. I wanted that. But it was kind of also like fighting where I came from. I didn't grow up with it, but I definitely I knew I wanted to be part of me. But it wasn't there in high school, I'll tell you that much. I don't know what those people were saying sounding jazzy. I don't know what that meant. They probably didn't know what they meant either. But the value of jazz is incredible, not just from listening wise, but also technique, right? I really love teaching a student jazz who, you know, we've just got done learning Back in Black. And it's like, Back in Black is like, that is rock. That is a rock song, right? But you go to jazz, and even just, not even a specific song, of course, just like the feel, the the foundation of it, of like what the groove is and where that lives. Hold on. Sorry. That is so foreign to a rock player. And that's been my experience. I'm not just saying, yeah, it's just for everybody. But it's been my experience. It's been that experience for a lot of my students where it's just, you gotta think very differently. This drummer, by the way, I don't think he's practicing, he's just shredding. That's all he's just going for shred. I don't know when that is applicable, but hey, we all gotta work on stuff. Anyway, he's probably playing jazz. No, but the thing is, where was I? Steve? Okay, yeah, okay. So, yeah, jazz is just, it's a whole other thing. It's a whole other foundation, right? With rock, we have the snare drum on 2 and 4. With jazz, that's the hi-hat. Guess where the snare drum came from? It was from that, right? Jazz is a part of music history, and I think we should check it out. I think it's important to check it out. And I'm like I said, I'm no master. I don't know every artist ever. I know what I like. I know what I've studied, right? But I'm not going to pretend like I am the authority on jazz. But I do want to talk about this because I think it is super valuable, especially as a drummer, to learn it because it's so different. And the coordination things that we have to do with jazz are so different. It forces you to improvise, right? Which is something I feel like every drummer should be able to do because we're not always going to be in the most comfortable situation, playing the most comfortable stuff. So we want to be extremely prepared to be able to be comfortable in all of these situations. So I feel like that's a good way to train is play very foreign stuff, have, just thinking of jazz as a coordination exercise. Maybe that's like a real bastard thing to say. I don't know. But if anything else, it's purely a great thing just to study, right? That's why colleges still have jazz programs. Just venues rarely have jazz bands, which is a drag. But they're coming back. There's more. Blue Note just opened in LA. That's awesome. I'm going to go very soon. It's exciting. But either way, I want to know what you guys think. What is jazz to you? Do you find value in it? Do you think of it just as an academic thing, or do you think of it as a valid artistic expression? I do. I think that. I think that's real important. And of course, jazz can be a lot of things. So, let's talk about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Because it is interesting when I post a short or a video, long form, where jazz is the kind of the foundation for the concept, there's less engagement. And I'm curious about that. I want to know more about that. Because again, I'm not going to say, I'm not some jazz guy, like exclusively, I dabble in it and I love it. I love playing it. So, but again, I'm no expert jazz dude. That's just part of me, not all of me, okay? But either way, let's talk about it, because we all just want to go big time. So let's do it.